Hola Unconventionals! I'm Amelia.
And I'm JP.
And we're sharing our unconventional life with you from Ecuador.
And in this video, we're going to share with you the real costs of moving abroad to Ecuador.
Before we get started, if you're new to our channel, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell please, because we show you what it's really like to live in Ecuador.
And stick around to the end because we have a really exciting announcement. We think you guys are going to love this. We have been working on a new project for several months during the quarantine, and we're finally ready to release it into the wild. So stick around to the end and I'm going to tell you all about it.
We're going to start with your typical expenses that you can expect to pay when you're moving to Ecuador, and we're going to start with the required expenses.
Yes, and I created this handy dandy spreadsheet, and I'll tell you how you can download this and customize it to your own needs at the end of the video. And the first thing that you have to have if you want to move to Ecuador is a visa.
Yes. Yeah, obviously you can come here on a tourist visa, but if you want to stay, you need to apply for a temporary residency visa, and that's a 2-year visa. The visa application fee is $50, and the visa fee itself is $450.
And you pay that fee when the visa is approved. So when you go to get your official visa after the whole application process.
Right.
And this is as of August 2020. So these costs may change by the time you watch this video.
Yes.
So keep that in mind.
Now, if you're an investor, if you're coming on an investor visa, then you need to have $40,000 to invest to get your visa.
Yeah, and you put that into a CD or property. You can buy property with that too. It just has to be worth at least $40,000. And then it's an additional $500 per dependent on top of that. So if your spouse is coming, you need $40,500.
You also have to get health insurance. You have to get your private health insurance first because you cannot get the IESS approved plan until after you have your visa and your cedula. We pay, is it $78 per person, JP?
Yeah, well, I just put that number in there as a guide. You're actually more expensive than me.
Because I'm older? I see how
and
it
a
is.
woman. So women pay more than men. And you pay more based on age and also if you smoke.
Okay.
So, but ours comes out to $156 per month for both of us.
Okay, gotcha.
And then, obviously if you're older, it's going to be more.
Right. So that's your monthly, that'll be a monthly expense. But then you do have to get your cedula, and we paid $10. We paid that to an agent. I don't know if you said you thought it was $5 to get the cedula.
Yeah, I can't remember. But it's $5 to $10.
$5 to $10. And that's a one-time fee.
You skipped ahead, Amelia.
I did.
Yeah, you went from visa to health insurance, then back to cedula.
Yeah, but that's how it goes in order, because you have to have your health insurance before you can get your cedula at JP Stonestreet.
Fine. Okay, so you also need airfare, unless you're going to drive here or walk here or swim here, sailboat here.
Ooh.
That would be cool.
That would be very cool.
But anyway, airfare usually runs about $500 a ticket. And you can see in this spreadsheet, I have a column for the number of people, so you can change that, and then all these numbers adjust accordingly. So I'm just assuming that there's 2 of you, because some of the costs are the same, whether it's 1 or 4 people.
Right.
But then other things like airfare is dependent on, and health insurance, that's dependent on how many people are going to be here.
I did a check over the weekend, and American Airlines and JetBlue has some really good deals right now. Round trip tickets to Miami on American was $322.
Wow, that
I
is
know,
low.
it's super cheap, and JetBlue to Fort Lauderdale is about the same.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so then once you arrive in Ecuador, you're probably going to want transportation. You can take a bus. So if you fly into Guayaquil and you're going to Cuenca or someplace else, you can probably take a bus if you're just bringing your luggage with you. And that would be like $12 to $15 probably. We hired a private driver because we had a dog and a bunch of suitcases. And that was about $100 to go from Guayaquil to Cuenca. Really depends on where you're flying into and how far you have to drive.
Yes.
So, but again, once you download the spreadsheet, you can plug these numbers in, your own numbers, and get a better estimate. So you're also going to need lodging when you get here, and we paid $800 for the first month that we lived here. We stayed in Apartamentos Otorongo.
Yes, we loved it.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah, and that was all inclusive of, well, not our food, but everything. So all the utilities, internet, we were able to keep the dogs, so it worked out really well. And we rented the bigger place. So you can definitely spend a lot less.
Yeah.
Or more if you want.
Yeah. There are options for less and for more.
Yes.
So the total cost for the required expenses are around $2,000, and you can probably get that down to $1,500 if you want to stay in a place that's a lot cheaper.
Yep.
This also assumes that you are getting the visa yourself and not hiring a visa agent, which we're going to talk about in a minute. If you're going to apply for the visa yourself, you really need to be fluent in Spanish, or it's going to be very difficult. And also, you need to make sure you have all of your paperwork with you and really understand the visa process. And the rules change a lot, so you may not be prepared. That's why we always recommend working with an agent who understands the system and has the government contacts.
Yes, but we do know people who have done it themselves and they are able to get their visa. So
Yep. It is an option
It
if
is
you're
an option.
budget conscious.
Yes.
All right, so now we're going to talk about the optional expenses. And the first one is an exploratory trip. We took an exploratory trip,
Yes.
and we spent about $2,500 for a 10-day trip here. We spent 3 days in Quito and 7 days in Cuenca.
Correct. And I highly recommend taking an exploratory trip, even though JP did not want to. And we know other people who have come here sight unseen, but I was not that brave. And I'm really glad we came because, first of all, it was also a vacation, but we learned a lot. And I wanted to make sure that we were going to be able to find what we needed and cook and eat and feel comfortable and safe. So we intentionally rented a place with a full kitchen. Well, it had a cooktop so that we could make our own meals and try to live like a local.
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one, Amelia.
Why?
Because we came here, the downside of the exploratory trip is that you're not going to want to leave.
That is true. We were so bummed when we went back home. Oh my gosh, we were so sad.
Yeah. So we left here, we were here in March and for our trip, and we went back to Denver, and we got off the airplane and it was like 20 something degrees and snowing.
I forgot about that.
And we had just left this. It was beautiful here. The summer, March is kind of the summer, and toward the end of the summer season in Ecuador. And man, it was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
We had blue skies, warm temperatures. We loved it here.
We did.
We were able to do all kinds of fun stuff, and we just didn't want to leave. And we were really depressed for like 6 months until we moved back.
Well, let's talk through the actual expenses. So our exploratory trip, we did a few other things besides staying at a hotel in Quito and flying. We flew from Quito to Cuenca, and then at that time, you could still fly from Cuenca to Guayaquil. So we had extra airfare, and we did some tours too. We did a tour in Quito, a full day tour. And then when we were in Cuenca, we did a couple tours, and I highly recommend you do some tours, whether you're doing an exploratory trip or you just want to get to know the area once you land here. Definitely take some tours. It seems like every city has some free walking tours, and there's a city bus tour you can do that in Cuenca that costs $12, and I know they have one of those. $8. I know they have one of those in Quito as well. We did Javier's neighborhood tour, which we highly recommend because he will take you around and drive you all throughout the different areas and explain the pros and cons.
I'll put a link to that video above Amelia's head.
Yeah.
It's an awesome video. It really gives you a good view of the outlying neighborhoods of Cuenca.
Yeah, so it's a great way to get your feet wet, and then of course you can always talk with other people as well. So we factored all of that into our costs. So it's airfare, tours, eating out, going to grocery shopping at the grocery store, cosas así. Oh, we went to Piedra de Agua.
Oh yeah, that was a magical day
It
at
was.
Piedra de Agua. We've got a video on that too, so go check that out.
So how much did we spend? Did you say?
It was about $2,500 total, and it was $1,000 in airfare.
Yeah. So still, it was-
$1,500 covered pretty much everything else.
Yep.
All right, the next thing you might want is a visa agent, and that we've talked to several different people. There's a lot of different visa agents in Ecuador, and they all run about the same rate,
Yes.
despite what they might say up front. There's some that come in, they say that they're the low-cost providers, and then by the time you're done, it ends up being about the same as everyone else. So you can expect to pay between $1,000 and $1,500 per person to get your visa to work with an
Right.
agent. And we have a video on that too. I'll link above Amelia's head. That talks about the requirements to get a temporary visa in the process. Do you have anything else to say on that?
No, because we already talked about it.
Okay, yeah, we do recommend that. It just takes a lot of the headaches out. But be sure to follow up. You'll learn in Ecuador, follow-up is critical.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't matter what you're doing or who you're working with. Just make sure to check in frequently.
Yes, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah. So we also did a video with Paul Wilches at Relocation Services of Ecuador.
Yes.
And he talked about how much it costs to ship a container here. We didn't do that. We just brought suitcases. But you can expect to pay anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 to ship a container. And he has a variety of different sizes, so the price really varies based on the size of the container.
Yeah, if you guys are thinking about bringing a container, you should definitely check out that video because Paul is a huge source of information. He shared so much good stuff with us. We were just like this the whole time.
I know. Yeah,
We were really interested, and we didn't even need to learn about that.
Yeah. And a lot of people ask us about shipping a car or motorcycle here. You can't do that unless you're an Ecuadorian citizen.
Right.
Or I should say, you can't do it legally. I think there are people who manage to do it illegally, but I don't know. I wouldn't recommend that. So you can't bring anything that's motorized that is a form of transportation other than, I think, an electric bike,
Yeah, we need
bicycle.
to ask Paul about that because
Yeah.
those are starting to gain in popularity.
I think you might be able to bring an electric bicycle here. Those are not, I don't think those fall under the same guidelines. But you can ask Paul. Paul is a wealth of information, and he is
Yes.
happy to answer all of your
Yeah,
questions.
he's very good with communication.
Yep, he is. All right, so the extra luggage fees, we paid, I think, $75
Yes.
a bag. We each brought a big suitcase when we moved here.
Yeah, so we came with 4 suitcases and our dogs.
Yep. So it was $75 for the extra, or $150 for the 2 extra suitcases. We also got travel insurance, and this covered us until we were able to get on an Ecuadorian insurance plan. We had a coverage with Allianz Global, Allianz Global, and they it was travel insurance that also came with health insurance that
Right.
worked in Ecuador.
Right. At the time, I haven't heard much about this lately, but at the time there was a requirement that you had to come into the country with proof of health insurance. Now, we had it, nobody asked us to see it, but I had heard, this is 3 years ago, that other people had to show that document. So, it never hurts to have it. That's
Yeah.
the way we look at it.
And right now, when we're recording this, you also have to come with a COVID test. We're not going
Right.
to include that because this video is going to live on YouTube for years to come. So we're not going to include that in this video, but expect that you're going to have to come with a negative PCR COVID test as well.
And not to mention, I don't know how much those cost.
And they vary depending
Right.
on where you go to get it.
Right.
So, mobile phone. We got a mobile phone pretty much as soon as we got here. And that was, at the time, was $17, but I think that plan is $20 a month now.
Yeah, I think with the taxes, we're paying $21.65. We have Claro. We've been super happy with it. As a matter of fact, I had to use it as a hotspot this morning because the power went down for
Yeah, about an hour and a half. And we don't lose power very often. We think it must have been scheduled because it went off exactly at 10:30.
Yes, exactly when my meeting started.
Yeah. All right, so you're going to need housing of some sort. And this is what we paid for our... Wow.
Hello, Birdie.
Wow. He's big. He's a big
Oh, I
bird.
see him. Wow.
Wow, it's really pretty.
Oh, sorry, guys. I wish we could turn the camera around.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome being here, living in the jungle.
Yes, it is.
All right, so this the rental that we had was $800 a month. They required an $800 security deposit. We also had to set up the internet, which was $80, the installation fee, and the utilities ran us about $80 a month. So
Right.
we're just putting like the first month in here. And then we also spent $700 on household items to kind of start up. The house was fully furnished, including some linens, but it didn't have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it had basically nothing. So we had to get all the blankets, towels, pillows, sheets, everything. We ended up getting some extra cookware. But a lot of places, it really depends on the landlord. Some places will be completely furnished, so you don't need to buy anything. That wasn't the case for us.
No.
But now this place, it had everything except the blankets. So
Yeah.
we just needed our blankets.
Yeah, did you say pots and pans and knives?
No, oh yeah.
The house we rented had that stuff, but the knives were horrible. The pots and pans were a mismatched set, and they were really, really cheap. So we went to Coral.
Yeah, we
Let
bought
us know in the comments how you pronounce that. Anybody who's from Ecuador, is it Coral or Coral? We've heard it both ways.
Yes, we have. So we bought like a toaster and a pressure cooker and some nice cookware because we cook all the time. And we bought that electric griddle, which we use all the time.
Yep.
So you're
And a toaster.
Yeah, I said toaster.
Oh. Sorry, I was looking at that.
I'm teasing you. So your expenses could be a lot less.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because when you look, if you're going to rent a place, you'll see things that say furnished, so that's fully furnished. Semi-furnished means it has the appliances, or unfurnished, which means bare bones, nothing, no furniture, and no refrigerator, no oven, nada.
Yeah, so if you rent unfurnished, you're going to have to supply all of that stuff.
But every place will require at least a 1 month rent security deposit. So you definitely want to factor that into your planning. And you don't necessarily have to get the internet set up. We changed over to Puntanet because we needed the really high-speed internet, and our monthly fee at that time in Cuenca was $56 a month, and it was well worth it.
Yeah. Oh, I should have included that, I guess, for the first month, $56 for that.
Oh, yeah.
See, I'll just add that right here.
Well, look at you.
So,
well, while you do that, I'm going to take a little sip of water.
And that was, what was it, 56?
56.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so
All right,
cool.
so that's it for the housing stuff. So that was $2,500, and also the total for the miscellaneous stuff was about $3,200 or $57 for the boat for two of us. And then pets. If you're going to bring pets, you got to have a lot of stuff.
You do. You have to go to a USDA certified veterinarian and have their certificate. So they have to basically get their own doggy passport. So they have
kitty passport.
Or kitty passport, yes. So they have to have a bunch of different shots. You have to go and get your paperwork registered or certified by the USDA APHIS office, which costs $38
per pet.
Per pet. Our veterinary fees were
about $300
for the exams.
Yeah, the vaccines were like $150 each.
And this was in Atlanta, so it may be cheaper in other parts of the country. I thought that was kind of expensive, but I don't know.
And the pet carriers, we had to have special pet carriers, so we had a soft-sided carry-on for Alicia. And then Daisy went in cargo, and you have to buy a special carrier with special screws, and that was, what did you say, it was $70 or something for? It was like $70 for Daisy's and $30 for Alicia's. I think.
It wasn't that expensive. We got those on
Amazon. Yep. And then pet travel, you got to pay for their boarding.
Yes.
And I think that was
$125.
$125 each.
Each. Yep.
Yep. So that was a total of $1,300 for both of them, $1,326. So the total that we spent to move to Ecuador was about $12,600. That included like all of our expenses for the first month, and except for food. But it was, all of the relocation costs and the first month's worth of lodging and
our trip, our exploratory trip is included in that too. And our visa, that was everything. That's the amount we spent.
Yeah, and that might seem expensive. However, we've saved $48,000 a year living here compared to living in Denver where we lived before.
Yes.
So that's $48,000 we've used to pay down our debt from living in the United States, from healthcare, from education, and our overextended lifestyle.
Exactly.
So basically, we invested $12,000 to save $48,000. We more than made up for it in just the first year of living here.
Yeah, and we probably could have done things a little cheaper, but obviously you can.
Yeah, you definitely can do things more cheaply
if you're so inclined.
All right, are you ready for the exciting announcement?
Yes.
Are you guys ready? So we have a new website.
Woohoo!
It's called liveabroadnow.com. And it's going to be the hub of all of our online expat-oriented information. Right now, it is focused on Ecuador because that's what we know and that's where we live.
Right.
So it's going to have, we already have a bunch of blog posts up talking about the first steps of moving abroad and moving to Ecuador. And we're going to continue adding to that each week. We're going to post a new blog post with detailed information about moving here. And this spreadsheet that I've just created will be available on that website. I'll put a link in the description below so you can go download the spreadsheet. We just ask that you opt into our newsletter. I'm going to send out a weekly newsletter on Friday. It's going to have some news about Ecuador related to expats, as well as an excerpt from our week's blog post and other expat information. It's just going to be something kind of short and sweet that you can check out and see in English what things are happening.
Right, and this is not going to change anything from Amelia and JP. Amelia and JP is staying exactly the same, so we're going to continue to do our videos. We'll continue to update our Amelia and JP website, but that's really, it's all over the place. We want to Live Abroad Now to be very focused because people ask us for specific information all the time, and it can be really hard to track that down in the middle of a video.
Yeah, and especially in the middle of AmeliaandJP.com, which we're
Yes.
going to keep, but we haven't really been posting much on that website for the last several months, and it's all over the board. Google has not rewarded us with that website because we have everything from being an expat in Ecuador to a wedding in India and a stroll through a tulip garden in Amsterdam. I mean, it's all over
random,
the board.
yeah.
It's basically a personal lifestyle blog, and Google doesn't rank those very well. So when people go in and do a search for like Cuenca, Ecuador, or expat in Ecuador, we want to show up, and Live Abroad Now will be optimized to perform better in search results. So our channel, nothing else is going to change. All of that is going to remain the same. So don't freak out.
Yeah, and we're still going to have the Amelia and JP newsletter, which is more personal stuff compared to Live Abroad Now, which is going to be very specific towards expat information. Yes.
Yeah. So Amelia and JP is about us, and Live Abroad Now is going to be completely about you. And that's why we wanted to have that differentiation. So I will continue to send my monthly Amelia and JP newsletter with like a story from our experience from the previous month. This is going to be all just really specific information about becoming an expat in Ecuador.
Yeah, and the videos will come from the videos Amelia and JP, so that's not changing either. We're not going to do separate videos for Live Abroad Now or anything of that. We just don't have time to duplicate that, and we don't want to. We love our channel.
I know, we do. We just love our channel.
We do.
So we're going to be driving people, and we'll be embedding this video in Live Abroad Now. So we'll be driving people from Live Abroad Now to our YouTube channel, Amelia and JP.
Yes.
So we're really excited about this. We're excited that I can, if somebody asks like about cell phone providers, I can go write a blog post. I haven't done it yet, but I will. I can put a blog post on Live Abroad Now where that really wouldn't make sense on Amelia and JP, the lifestyle blog.
Right.
So, but we're really excited about this. So if you guys, as the questions roll in, we're going to be adding more blog posts over there to answer them.
Exactly.
All right, guys, I think that's all we have for this video. Again, if you want to download this spreadsheet, I'll put a link in the description below, and you can go download that, and then you can update it yourself. We just asked you to sign up for our newsletter. All right, guys, we have thoroughly enjoyed all of our time with you.
Yeah, this has been fun. You wouldn't think we would have so much fun running through our costs.
Yeah.
I told JP I wanted to make sure this wasn't a dry, boring video, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hopefully you do too.
Yeah, if you did, leave us a like.
Yes, please.
And leave your comments down below. We'll do our best to get those answered, and we will see you all in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.